Hello, young learners. Today, we are going to hear an amazing story. It's about a man named Mahatma Gandhi. He was a leader who changed the world with the power of nonviolence. Listening to his story will help you learn English easily. So, let's begin. Mahatma Gandhi was born on October 2, 1869, in a small town called Porbandar, in India. His full name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. People later called him Mahatma, which means great soul. Little Mohandas was the youngest of 4 children. His father, Karamchand Gandhi, was a chief minister in the region, and his mother, Putlabai, was a deeply religious woman. As a child, Mohandas was shy and quiet. He loved to read books and listen to stories. His mother often told him stories from religious scriptures, which taught him the values of truth and nonviolence. These lessons had a deep impact on young Mohandas and shaped his character. Mohandas went to a local school in Porbandar. He was an average student, but he worked hard and was always curious to learn new things. He had a strong sense of right and wrong and always tried to be honest and kind to others. His friends and teachers admired him for his gentle nature and strong values. When Mohandas was 13 years old, he got married to Kasturba, who was also 13. This was a common practice in India at that time. They had a loving and supportive relationship. Kasturba would later become an important partner in Mohandas' journey for justice and nonviolence. Mohandas' early life was filled with important lessons from his family and his experiences. He learned the values of truth, nonviolence, and compassion. These values would guide him throughout his life and help him become a great leader. After completing his primary education in Porbandar, Mohandas moved to a nearby town called Rajkot to continue his studies. He attended a high school there and continued to work hard in his studies. He was determined to do well and make his family proud. When Mohandas was 18 years old, he traveled to London, England, to study law. This was a big step for him, as it was his first time leaving India. He was nervous but excited about the opportunities that lay ahead. He wanted to become a lawyer and help people seek justice. In London, Mohandas faced many challenges. He had to adapt to a new culture and lifestyle. He missed his family and the familiar surroundings of India. But he remained focused on his studies and worked hard to succeed. He also made new friends and learned about different cultures and ideas. While studying in London, Mohandas was influenced by the teachings of great thinkers and philosophers. He read books by Leo Tolstoy, John Ruskin, and Henry David Thoreau. Their ideas about nonviolence, civil disobedience, and the importance of serving others resonated with him. These teachings further strengthened his belief in truth and nonviolence. Mohandas also became a vegetarian during his time in London. He joined a vegetarian society and learned about the benefits of a simple and compassionate lifestyle. This decision was influenced by the values of nonviolence and compassion that he had learned from his mother. In 1891, Mohandas completed his studies and became a qualified lawyer. He returned to India with a strong sense of purpose. He wanted to use his knowledge and skills to help others and fight for justice. His time in London had a profound impact on him and shaped his future path. Mohandas Gandhi's education and early influences played a crucial role in shaping his beliefs and values. The lessons he learned from great thinkers, his experiences in London, and the teachings of his mother guided him on his journey to becoming a leader who would change the world. After returning to India, Mohandas Gandhi struggled to establish his law practice. He faced many challenges and found it difficult to find clients. However, in 1893, he received an opportunity to work as a lawyer in South Africa. He accepted the offer and traveled to South Africa, hoping to gain experience and build his career. In South Africa, Mohandas faced racial discrimination and injustice. He was shocked by the treatment of Indian immigrants and other non-white people. He experienced this discrimination firsthand when he was thrown off a train for refusing to move from a first-class compartment, even though he had a valid ticket. This incident deeply affected him and made him realize the extent of racial injustice. Mohandas decided to stay in South Africa and fight against discrimination. He began to organize the Indian community and advocate for their rights. He encouraged people to stand up against injustice and demand equal treatment. He believed in the power of nonviolence and peaceful resistance. In 1906, Mohandas introduced the concept of satyagraha, which means truth force or soul force. Satyagraha was a philosophy of nonviolent resistance. It involved standing up for truth and justice without using violence. Mohandas believed that nonviolence was the most powerful way to bring about change. He led several campaigns against discriminatory laws in South Africa. One of the most notable campaigns was the protest against the pass laws, which required Indians to carry special passes. Mohandas and his followers refused to carry the passes and were willing to face imprisonment. Their peaceful resistance gained international attention and support. Mohandas also worked to improve the living conditions of Indian workers in South Africa. He established settlements where people could live and work together, following the principles of simplicity and self-reliance. These settlements provided a sense of community and support for the Indian immigrants. Mohandas Gandhi's struggles in South Africa were a turning point in his life. He developed and refined his philosophy of nonviolence and peaceful resistance. His efforts brought about significant changes and inspired others to join the fight for justice. His experiences in South Africa laid the foundation for his future work in India. In 1915, after spending over 20 years in South Africa, Mohandas Gandhi returned to India. He was warmly welcomed by the people, who had heard of his work and admired his commitment to nonviolence and justice. Upon his return, he was given the title Mahatma, meaning great soul, in recognition of his contributions. Mahatma Gandhi joined the Indian National Congress, a political organization that was fighting for India's independence from British rule. He traveled across the country, meeting people from different walks of life and understanding their struggles. He was deeply moved by the poverty and suffering he saw and became determined to improve the lives of the Indian people. Mahatma Gandhi believed that India could achieve independence through nonviolence and peaceful resistance. He encouraged people to stand up against British rule by refusing to cooperate with the colonial government. He launched several campaigns to promote social reforms and improve the lives of the people. One of his early campaigns was the Champaran Satyagraha in 1917. The farmers in Champaran, a district in Bihar, were being forced to grow indigo by the British landlords. They were paid very little and were living in terrible conditions. Mahatma Gandhi visited Champaran and organized the farmers to protest against the unfair practices. The campaign was successful and the farmers' conditions improved. Another significant campaign was the Kheda Satyagraha in 1918. The farmers in Kheda, a district in Gujarat, were suffering due to a severe drought and were unable to pay their taxes. Mahatma Gandhi led the farmers in a nonviolent protest, refusing to pay the taxes until their demands were met. The campaign was successful, and the government agreed to suspend the taxes. Mahatma Gandhi also worked to improve the conditions of the untouchables, the lowest caste in Indian society. He called them Harijans, meaning children of God, and fought against the discrimination and injustice they faced. He encouraged people to treat everyone with respect and dignity, regardless of their caste. Mahatma Gandhi's early work in India focused on social reforms and improving the lives of the people. His efforts brought about significant changes and inspired many to join the fight for independence. His commitment to nonviolence and justice became the guiding principles of the Indian independence movement. In 1920, Mahatma Gandhi launched the Non-Cooperation Movement, a nationwide campaign against British rule. The movement was based on the principles of non-violence and peaceful resistance. Mahatma Gandhi encouraged people to withdraw their support from the British government and refuse to cooperate with its institutions. The non-cooperation movement aimed to make India ungovernable by the British authorities. Mahatma Gandhi urged people to boycott British goods, schools, courts, and legislative councils. He encouraged them to spin their own cloth, known as khadi, instead of buying British textiles. The movement also called for the resignation of Indian officials from their government positions. The response to the non-cooperation movement was overwhelming. People from all walks of life joined the movement and participated in peaceful protests and demonstrations. Thousands of people boycotted British goods and institutions, and many Indian officials resigned from their positions. The movement brought the country together in a united effort against British rule. The non-cooperation movement had a significant impact on the British authorities. It disrupted their control and weakened their hold on India. The movement also gained international attention, highlighting the injustices faced by the Indian people under British rule. Mahatma Gandhi's leadership and commitment to nonviolence inspired many people around the world. However, the movement faced challenges and setbacks. In 1922, a violent incident occurred in the village of Chayuri Chaura in Uttar Pradesh. Protesters clashed with the police, resulting in the death of several policemen. This event deeply troubled Mahatma Gandhi. He believed in nonviolence and was disheartened by the turn of events. As a result, he called off the non-cooperation movement, urging his followers to maintain peace and nonviolence at all times. Despite this setback, the non-cooperation movement had a lasting impact. It demonstrated the power of collective action and nonviolent resistance. It showed that the people of India were united in their struggle for independence. The movement also gained international attention, bringing the plight of the Indian people to the forefront. Mahatma Gandhi continued to work towards India's independence through nonviolent means. He remained committed to his principles of truth and nonviolence. He believed that true freedom could only be achieved through peaceful means. In 1930, Mahatma Gandhi launched another significant campaign against British rule, the Salt March. The British government had imposed a tax on salt, making it illegal for Indians to produce or sell salt. This tax affected the poorest people the most, as salt was an essential part of their diet. Mahatma Gandhi decided to protest against this unjust law by organizing a 240-mile march from his ashram in Sabarmati to the coastal village of Dandi. He was joined by thousands of supporters as he walked for 24 days. The march attracted widespread attention and brought people together in a powerful display of nonviolent resistance. On April 6, 1930, Mahatma Gandhi reached Dandi and picked up a handful of salt from the seashore, symbolically breaking the salt law. This act of defiance inspired millions of Indians to join the civil disobedience movement. People across the country began making their own salt and refusing to pay the salt tax. The Salt March and the civil disobedience movement had a profound impact on the British authorities. The government arrested thousands of protesters, including Mahatma Gandhi himself. However, the movement continued to grow, and the spirit of nonviolent resistance spread throughout the country. The civil disobedience movement demonstrated the power of nonviolence and peaceful resistance. It showed that ordinary people could stand up against injustice and demand their rights. Mahatma Gandhi's leadership and unwavering commitment to nonviolence inspired millions to join the struggle for independence. In 1942, as World War II raged on, Mahatma Gandhi launched the Quit India movement, calling for an immediate end to British rule in India. He believed that India could not participate in the war as a colony and that it was time for the British to leave India. On August 8, 1942, Mahatma Gandhi delivered a powerful speech at the All India Congress Committee meeting in Bombay. He called for the British to quit India and urged his fellow Indians to continue their non-violent struggle for independence. His message was clear: do or die. The British authorities responded swiftly, arresting Mahatma Gandhi and other prominent leaders of the Indian National Congress. Despite the arrests, the Quit India movement gained momentum. People across the country organized protests, strikes, and acts of civil disobedience. They refused to cooperate with the British government and demanded freedom. The Quit India movement was marked by widespread protests and clashes with the authorities. The British used force to suppress the movement, but the spirit of resistance remained strong. The movement showed the determination and resilience of the Indian people in their fight for independence. Although the Quit India movement faced significant challenges, it had a lasting impact. It demonstrated the unwavering commitment of the Indian people to their cause. The movement also gained international support and put pressure on the British government to reconsider its stance on Indian independence. Mahatma Gandhi's leadership during the Quit India movement inspired people to continue their non-violent struggle. His message of do or die became a rallying cry for freedom. The movement brought the country closer to its goal of independence. On August 15, 1947, India finally achieved independence from British rule. It was a moment of immense joy and pride for the Indian people. The struggle for freedom, led by Mahatma Gandhi and countless other leaders and activists, had finally borne fruit. However, the joy of independence was overshadowed by the partition of India into two separate countries, India and Pakistan. The partition was based on religious lines, with India becoming a predominantly Hindu country and Pakistan a predominantly Muslim country. The partition led to widespread violence and displacement. Millions of people were forced to leave their homes and migrate to the newly formed countries. The communal riots resulted in the loss of countless lives and immense suffering. Mahatma Gandhi was deeply saddened by the violence and the division of the country. He believed in the unity of all people, regardless of their religion. He traveled to the affected areas, urging people to stop the violence and work towards peace and harmony. He fasted and prayed for communal harmony, trying to bring people together. Despite the challenges, Mahatma Gandhi remained committed to his vision of a united and peaceful India. He believed that independence was not just about freedom from British rule but also about building a just and equitable society. He encouraged people to work towards self-reliance and rural development. Mahatma Gandhi's role in India's independence struggle and his efforts to promote peace and unity left a lasting impact on the country. His principles of nonviolence and truth continued to inspire people, even in the face of adversity. Mahatma Gandhi had a clear vision for an independent India. He believed in a country where all people lived in harmony, regardless of their religion, caste, or background. He envisioned a society based on justice, equality, and self-reliance. One of Mahatma Gandhi's key ideas was the concept of sarvodaya, which means the welfare of all. He believed that true progress could only be achieved if it benefited everyone, especially the poorest and most marginalized members of society. He advocated for social and economic reforms to uplift the lives of all people. Mahatma Gandhi also emphasized the importance of self-reliance. He encouraged people to use local resources and skills to meet their needs. He promoted the idea of swadeshi, which means using goods made in one's own country. He believed that self-reliance would strengthen the economy and promote sustainable development. Another important aspect of Mahatma Gandhi's vision was rural development. He believed that the true essence of India lay in its villages. He advocated for the development of rural areas through education, healthcare, and better infrastructure. He encouraged people to focus on agriculture and traditional crafts to build a strong and self-sufficient rural economy. Mahatma Gandhi also worked towards eradicating social evils such as untouchability. He believed that everyone should be treated with respect and dignity. He fought against discrimination and worked to promote equality and social justice. He encouraged people to overcome prejudices and work towards a more inclusive society. Mahatma Gandhi's vision for India was holistic and inclusive. He believed in the power of nonviolence, truth, and compassion to bring about positive change. His ideas continue to inspire people around the world to work towards a more just and equitable society. Mahatma Gandhi's life came to a tragic end on January 30, 1948. He was assassinated by Nathuram Godse, a man who opposed his views on nonviolence and his efforts to promote communal harmony. The assassination shocked the nation and the world. Mahatma Gandhi's death was a great loss, but his legacy continued to live on. His principles of nonviolence, truth, and compassion have inspired countless people around the world. His teachings have influenced leaders such as Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and many others who have fought for justice and equality. Mahatma Gandhi's life and work remind us of the power of nonviolence and peaceful resistance. He showed that it is possible to bring about positive change without using violence. His commitment to truth and justice serves as a guiding light for all those who seek to make the world a better place. Mahatma Gandhi's legacy is celebrated every year on October 2nd, which is observed as the International Day of Nonviolence. His life and teachings continue to inspire people to work towards a more just, peaceful, and compassionate world. Thank you for listening to this story. Remember, learning about great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi helps us understand the importance of nonviolence, truth, and compassion. Keep exploring, stay curious, and always strive to make the world a better place.